Hi everybody, how are you all doing? How are things? It's all slowly getting back to normal here in the UK, but I think it's going to take a while. So what I thought I'd do today is just pop along, and this is the card I thought I'd share with you today. And really what I want to concentrate on is how to make this background. Those of you that follow me or come to my workshops, you'll know that I just love creating backgrounds. And I have found it very useful at the minute. A lot of the ladies that normally come to my workshops, we have a little workshop group on Facebook, and a lot of them are at home and on their own and struggling at the minute. And quite often when you're struggling emotionally, you find it hard to craft. Crafting's funny, people don't realise you have to be in the right sort of headspace to do it. Now for me, I find if I've lost my mojo or can't think what to do, I love to create backgrounds, and it's something I have recommended to some of the ladies, just to actually get some cards, create a background. And the process of actually creating the background can help you then start to think of ideas and what you're going to do with it. So as I say, this is the background, and I'll just bring it a little bit closer so you can have a look at various different elements of it. Now today I'm going to be using stamps from All and Create. I'm going to pop this to one side. So what I'm going to do, this is a DL card that I'm making, but obviously you can do this for any size. And also it's actually Father's Day here in a few days, so I'm actually making this for my dad, so I'm sort of dare I say doing two things at once here. But obviously change the colours up. I mean, I'm going to use a grey. I'm using oxides here just because they're the ones I have on my desk. And I'm using a grey and a brown because I want it to be very sort of masculine and vintage. But if you use blue, and this beautiful Stormy Sky works really well with the gathered twigs or with the hickory smoke, and you almost get that weathered look. And that's great for anything sort of seasidey or nautical. So anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on. Sorry, you know what I'm like, I do get carried away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the hickory smoke. So I'm using the oxide, and I'm going to use direct to paper. So if ever you see articles that say DTP, that just means direct to paper. And what I want to do is I want to almost cover. Now don't think too much about this, and you're going to angle your ink pad sort of about maybe 45 degrees, and you're going to swipe it right down. Don't press too hard, we don't want it covering. If I show you on the back, you don't want to actually do it flat like that. Sort of the angle is important, and you get this lovely look. So I'm just going to do that again here, and then I'm going to come round and just do the same from this side. Now I'm going to do 3 from here because I didn't want the same 2 lines where it joins, and I'm happy with that. The grey I just want, and this is hickory smoke, I want as my general background. Now on the finished card you don't actually see much of the grey, it's more the brown, but it is actually there, and it's what adds to that background. It's these layers, it's that building up that depth, which is what we want. So now we're going to gathered twigs. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm not going to swipe the whole length. I'm just going to come in from the edge and go maybe say 1/3 of the way down. So it's more of a swiping motion. Now this, I'm actually going to go all the way around, but really catching the edge. And what I'm thinking is, you see, because I want to put my wall clock in the middle, can you see I'm almost framing it? So I'm just going to add a little bit more. If there's areas where you think you want a little bit more, just bring it back in. I think here, because I just want that brown almost all the way around the edge. Now, I'm happy with that as my general background. So what I would do now is just flick some water on it. And this, as you see, will start to oxidise. The other thing that I like to do is actually dip my finger in my water. Just dip it on my mat here where I've got some brown ink, and just put it on my work. And this just gives these they almost look like sort of, I don't know, vintage areas. I do love doing that. So that's that part. So we're going to leave that to dry. So at home, well, obviously I am at home, but when I'm doing this myself, I would leave that to dry. I'm actually going to use a heat tool on it, just because obviously for time. But it does look better if you can leave it to let it dry naturally. So I'm just going to use my heat tool and just give that a bit of a dry it with my cloth as well. And always remember to dry from the back. Give it a good waft. That'll do for now. Now the stamp set we're going to use is, as I say, from All and Create, and it's this one, and it's called Time Up. And we're going to use this clock here. There's a few elements. I do love this typewriter as well. I'm actually going to be using a little bit of the text on this as well. Great for men's cards, as I say, for the vintage look. So what I have done is I've already stamped to save time, I've already stamped the clock out, and I've literally I stamped it in black. And I've used the same colours, so I've used my gathered twigs with some water and just painted over more or less the whole thing. I've left the face clean, and then I've used a mustard seed just to go in to highlight some areas. Very, very quick to do, and that's my preferred way of adding colour, just because I find that for me it's quick, but it's very effective, and it goes with this vintage look. What we're going to do now is I'm going to stamp in black, and I'm going to ink up the clock, and I'm going to actually stamp it on my work. Now I'm just going to stamp it sort of just a little bit higher than midline. I don't want it directly in the middle, because I think if you put things directly in the middle, they literally have to be in the middle. And I want to add a Happy Father's Day, or I might just put Dad. I'm not sure which. Now again, with the All and Create blocks, remember they are flexible. We do want all this lovely area around this. Now, although that hasn't stamped brilliantly, my ink pad's a little bit dry. There's no need to worry, because we're actually going to be decoupaging this. Now, to keep this, so a little tip, if ever that happens, and it's purely, I've got 2 ink pads on the go, and obviously I've picked up the one that is a little bit dry. But like I say, don't worry. I mean, in a way, I'm glad that's happened, because it shows you. Some people would throw that away, and they'd be sort of really cross and, oh, I'm rubbish, you know, it hasn't worked. That's fine, because like I say, we're going to decoupage that. But what I do want to do is some stamping here and here with the same ink pad in the same almost faded, to make it look like it was part of the design. And this is a trick: if things don't quite work out how you want, make it look as though it was supposed to be there. Now, I did get the ink block, but I'm thinking I won't use the ink block now. So I want some text here. So on the typewriter, I'm going to use the top bit. And what I'm thinking is I won't put it on my acrylic block. I want it as part of the background. So, and I don't want it to be perfect, so I'm just going to use my hand. And you see how it ties in? And I'll do some at the top here. So I'll pick up some ink there, and let's just get this coming in here. Now, also on this stamp, there's a rather nice ink splat here. Now, if I just press my finger on there, do you think I can just get that ink splat? Yeah. And then I'm just going to put one at the top here. And again, it doesn't matter if I go over that, because what I'm thinking is when that goes on. Now, I don't like the way I've got the 2. I need a 3rd. So I'm thinking, shall we go? Actually, I think there. I think just behind, peeping out from behind the clock. Yeah, that looks better. So what I need now is a little bit more in the background. So what I'm going to do is bring in, we've got a rather nice stamp here called Roundly, and as it says, it's just these quite often you can do with the lid of your spritzer bottle, which I'll show you. But what we're going to do is we're just going to use this stamp, again not on the block, because I just want it to build up this background. Just want a little bit more, just a little bit more detail, look, not too much. I don't want to take away, remember that's going to go there, and I just want to build up this vintage feel. Now it's quite dark, excuse me, so I could do with it lightening up a little bit. So what I will do is bring in the lid of my spritzer bottle, and somewhere got a Posca pen, and what I'm going to do is just put some white Posca gesso if you've got white gesso, but my white gesso is on my shelf, so I'm thinking we'll use the Posca, and again just use those circles, and that will just go with the theme, and it adds that nice bit of white. And it's all this, you don't want it to be perfect, you just want those details to start building up. So that's starting to look really good. The next thing I would do, and again this is very quick, it's amazing how just swiping your ink on the card, that direct to paper. Now I'm just going to do the faux matting and layering while I'm talking. Just because I've stamped in black, I could have done it in brown and kept it all vintage, but I wanted the black to almost pop a little. So to save having to mat and layer onto black card, I'm just using my Sharpie pen or any alcohol marker and my ruler just to go around. If you do that, do remember to wipe the side of your ruler though, because you don't want black next time you pick that up. So again, keep putting that on, and I just think that is building up so well. So a couple more little things to do and then we're finished. What we're going to do is get the Posca again, and I'm just going to add some highlights on here, just a few, and it's nice to just on my, just add a couple here. Now I haven't got white card to mat and layer it on, but what I'll do is I'll build it up, and then when it's dry I'll do the matting and layering. So what we'll do is we'll put some glue. Now on the actual design, if I bring this back in to show you, you can see we've got these lovely, Bipasha has drawn these lovely pieces of thread. Now I know my friend Tracy Evans uses black thread a lot. Now Bipasha's actually drawn it as part of the designs here, so I think it will be good to get some black thread and actually pop it behind our clock. It's going to add a bit of dimension, and the fact that we've got it in the as part of the design. So the way I would do it is get yourself a nice bit of black thread. I actually want that end peeping out, and we're just going to put it and then I'm going to use trusty pin flare, and whatever, whether you want to use sticky pads or I just like pin flare for me. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that on there. Always remember with your pin flare to pop it up to the top so you don't get any air bubbles, and then because the air will harden it. So that on there, nearly done. The big Posca, we'll add some Posca splats, add some to that side, little bit more highlight. Now I just want to wipe those up. You know me, I have to clean up as I'm going. And then my last little, I just want to, if you get any bits like that, that's a little bit, I want to catch that under there. So just use your pokey tool, pop that under. There we go, that's better. Just catches that. Now, the last little trick, and what I want to do now is just that finishing off is just to do this part, and for this we're just going to use some glossy accents, and this is just around almost like a, I don't know, a metal disc. My friend actually gave me some. She got them at a hardware shop, so it's almost like a metal washer, a ring pin. And the glossy accents is going to do two things. It's going to keep this, as it happens, look, it just happens to be more or less the right size. I love using these. So what I'm going to do is use the glossy accents for two things. One, it'll actually hold it in place. There we go. And two, when I fill the middle, when it dries, gives the clock face a really nice look. Obviously, it will take a while to dry. If you're going to do that, don't put your finger straight in it, will you? And so that's my offering for you. Like I say, the main thing is that lovely, quick and easy background for mail cards. So I'm going to bring this one back in for you so you can see the two. Like I say, I shall be adding a sentiment on the bottom of this and making that into my dad's Father's Day card ready for Sunday. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Please take care, everybody. Love and hugs. Bye for now. Bye.